Pesach is called Zman Cherusenu. It is the time of our freedom. And I'm sure it's been lost on no one that this year our freedom seems to be kind of curtailed. We're all in something of captivity, largely self-imposed, but captivity no less. And so what I want to do for the next couple of minutes is maybe try to reframe that a little bit, to think a little bit more deeply about the freedom that we celebrate and the freedom that we can experience and do experience even this year. In Tehillim Kuf Mem Vav 146, the Mishorer describes Hashem as Matir Asurim, one who frees those who are in captivity. And we say this parak of Tehillim in Pesukei Zimra every single day. We say those words, Matir Asurim. We describe Hashem in this way in Shmona Esrei at least 3 times a day. And in those contexts, it seems very plain that we're describing Hashem, we're extolling Hashem as one who frees people from bondage, from slavery. But there's another context in davening where we say those words, where we describe Hashem as Matir Asurim, where it takes on a little bit of a different meaning. In Birchas HaShachar every day, we say Baruch Ata Hashem Matir Asurim. And the Gemara says, right, we say that based on the Gemara, that tells us, Ki taretz v'yasev, right, when you sit up straight in bed in the morning, you say, Baruch Matir Asurim. So why are we saying, Hashem, you free those who are enslaved or who are in bondage, who are in captivity? Why are we saying that when we wake up in the morning? We're not coming out of jail. We're not coming out of a moment of captivity. It's because when we're asleep, we're not really in control of our bodies. And it's only once we wake up that we really have the full capacity to control that which we do with our limbs and with our whole body. But I think there's an even deeper message here, which I'd like to explore. Because the Gemara says, as I said, Ki taretz v'yasev. You do this when you sit up straight in bed in the morning. Now, let's think about that moment. I had this moment this morning. I imagine everyone did, and we all do pretty much every day. The alarm goes off. All you want to do at that moment is to roll over and to go to bed. Well, maybe you hit the snooze, but then the alarm goes off a few minutes later, and there you are. Your body is telling you, please, give me another hour. But you don't. You don't because you have obligations. You have to daven. You have to take care of children or family members. You have all sorts of things. You have to get to work. All sorts of obligations that pull you out from that bed. And it's that in that moment, it's at that moment that we say, Baruch Matir Asurim. Hashem is releasing me from a certain kind of captivity. And that's kind of ironic, right? Because if I was completely free of all the bounds, all the things that bind me, if I was completely without responsibility, I'd actually roll over and go back to sleep. But the point is, because I have that responsibility, because I have something calling me out of bed, I can will myself, despite myself, and get up out of bed. I can do that which is hard. I can do that which is not automatic and not easy. And that is specifically when we say, Baruch Ata Hashem Matir Asurim. That's when we really experience and thank Hashem for our freedom. That is the freedom that we celebrate on Pesach. When we left Egypt, the freedom that we got, of course, to some extent, we lost taskmaster. There were things that we now could, we could go move around freely, but it was more than that. It was the fact that when we left Egypt, we were given a higher calling. We were given a set of principles to aspire to, laws, halacha, Torah, mitzvos, things that lift us above that which is easy and automatic and give us the opportunity, despite ourselves, to make the choices that are hard and meaningful, and that are meaningful beyond just serving ourselves. What we were given was a kind of alarm clock. The Torah way of life, the covenant that we enter with Hashem in Mitzrayim and then beyond, is a way in which we are able to be truly free in the deepest sense. And that's, of course, the deep meaning of the often quoted words from Pirkei Avos, which say, Ein lecha ben choren, right? No one is truly free or is as free as Elamisha osek b'talmud Torah, right? No one is free except for the one who is who studies Torah, right? Because again, it's the person who studies Torah who's constantly striving for things that are not ephemeral, that are not fleeting, that are not just short-sighted and self-serving. It's that person who is truly free. And in that sense, our freedom this Pesach is entirely unencumbered. Because freedom is not the ability to go and come as you please, to go to ShopRite whenever you want, to go to the mall whenever you want. That's not freedom. Freedom is the ability to make choices that are difficult, even though and because they are difficult. And in that way, in a kind of sense, in a funny way, staying home is the greatest expression of freedom, because you're doing something that's hard for something that's bigger than yourself. And of course, the entire Pesach experience that we're trying to cultivate is a demonstration of freedom, right? It's easy, or much easier, to have a meaningful Pesach when you're in shul and when you have the positive peer pressure of your friends and your family with you. But when you're home alone, that's when it's hard. That's when it takes real discipline. That's when you have a lot of these moments where, you have to sit up in bed and you have to really make it for yourself. You have to make those hard decisions and elevate every moment. That's what we're called upon to do this Yom Tif. And in that sense, this Yom Tif is not one in which our freedom is actually minimized or mitigated or less apparent. It's actually more apparent. And so I wish all of you a very meaningful Pesach, and I wish you all the ability to experience the true meaning of being B'nai Choren. May you rise to the occasion, and may you have a very, very meaningful Pesach to you, to your family, to the whole community, and I hope to see you soon. Be well.